I'm going to talk about my top 10 tips for new ESL or EFL teachers. So if you're new to teaching English, this is the video for you. So my first tip is names. It's very, very difficult to conduct a class if you don't know the students' names. You won't be able to really ask specific students questions. If someone is misbehaving, it's difficult to address unless you actually know their names. So the way to get around this, if you have a lot of students, is to have a seating chart and then have the master list, or just have students write up a little name tag and put it on their desks. I kind of do the name tag on the desk thing. I just find it easier than a seating chart. All right, the second one is use lots of review. So I personally would rather my students know a few things very, very well than a million things not really at all by the time they leave my class. So if you have a textbook, you may feel like you're kind of forced to just power through the textbook over the course of the semester. However, focus on a few things in that textbook and don't feel like you need to cover every single activity. Choose the best ones and then do lots of reviews. So this could happen even at the end of class or at the beginning of next class, and then you could have maybe a monthly review session, and you could do some review before the midterm and final exam if you have to give exams. All right, the next tip is set some goals. So find out why students are studying English and then tailor your classes towards that. If students feel like they're achieving what they want out of that class, it's going to go much more smoothly instead of you trying to impose what you think they should be learning. Their needs are different than what you might think they are. So ask the students what they want out of that class. Okay, the next thing is to create a lesson plan. So I know it's tempting to just kind of walk into class with a textbook and just kind of open it up and say, what are we doing? What am I teaching you? Or just kind of chit chat with students, but that's not actually the best way to teach English. So come to class with at least a very basic lesson plan of what you're going to do. It takes a few minutes, but it's totally worthwhile in terms of the results that students will get. Okay, the next tip is that teaching is all about a relationship. So do whatever you can to kind of foster a good relationship with your students. I won't say bribe them, but I mean, if it's their birthday, bring in a little snack or a gift and you can sing happy birthday to them. For the holidays, kind of do some fun activities or games and kind of bring in some treats or some homemade baking, something like that. It can go a really, really long way towards this kind of fostering a good class environment. All right, the next one is to use a variety of activities and games. So nobody really likes doing the same thing over and over and over and over again in a language class. It kind of leads to this feeling of dread of oh, I'm going to class and I'm going to do the same old thing and it's so boring. So the way to combat that is just to get creative and use some different activities. However, the next tip is all about routine. So I know I just said use a ton of activities, and that's true, but you should also have some sort of routines. So people also don't like when it's just very, very random, and then when they come into class, they have no idea what to expect. So have routines for things like how to take attendance, how to collect papers, how to hand out papers, what time the students maybe should line up before the bell starts, how to clean up for the day. And so this is especially true if you teach children. You will definitely want to have some routines in order to prevent chaos in your class. Okay, so the next tip is to use ICQs. So ICQs are instruction checking questions. These are very simple questions that you would ask students after you've given instructions. So for example, how many students are on your team? 4. How long do you have? 5 minutes. So that kind of thing. So just check to make sure the students have understood what you've told them before you turn them loose to go do their activity or game or whatever they're doing. It can go a long way just to ensuring the students are doing what you want them to do. Okay, so the next one are CCQs. So these are concept checking questions. So I would say, for example, I didn't eat, and students would say, no, I didn't eat, that kind of thing. So you're just checking what you taught them just to make sure they've 100% understood. And then finally, the last one is positive reinforcement. So, in every class in every country with every age, there's always the class clown. There's the one person who's maybe a little bit lazy. There's the one person who doesn't like English. There's the kind of keener. There's, the one person who just wants to kind of create trouble. It's just in any country, in any situation that you're teaching, there's always kind of those common different types of people. So I personally try to focus on the positives. So I choose things to call out that are not negative. So for example, you work so well as a team, great job. Or, oh, you did a really nice job on that assignment or worksheet. Or thank you so much for helping me hand out those papers. Or you guys took such a short time to clean up. I really appreciate it. And you did a very good job. Oh, thank you for picking up that trash off the floor. Things like that. So focus on the positive and not the negative, and the result is you'll get more positive things happening in your class. Okay, so those are my top 10 tips for new ESL teachers. I hope you enjoyed it. And please leave a comment and tell me your top tip for newbie teachers. Okay, until next time. Bye, everybody.